Not one person signed up. Yeah, not one. And you know what they say, it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get back up. Oof, feels like we have to get back up a lot. My knees hurt. Hey, you want to hear some of my marketing failures? Yeah, let's get into it. So Monique here of Silver Paw Studio, founder of ProPetPhotog, and I talk a lot about marketing on YouTube and in the ProPetPhotog Community Center membership. And we don't often talk about our failures or the times it doesn't work out. So marketing is really experimenting, adjusting, launching, relaunching, and really most businesses won't tell you, won't reveal the things that didn't work. So by the time you're kind of teaching marketing, you found something that worked, but we don't talk about the years before that of experiments that didn't work. Eek. And this can be totally frustrating, not only for, me as the person doing the marketing that's failing, but also teaching you. So you might be feeling really frustrated that every time you turn on YouTube or buy a course, like these people have it all figured out and they never make a mistake. And that is not at all true. And the truth is we spent like so much time and effort and money to craft these campaigns and put them out in the world. And it's just so much effort. And sometimes there really isn't a return on that effort. Super frustrating. And of course, then what happens? Yeah, we spiral. We go into this defeat and devastation and self-loathing and self-doubt. And we think, oh my gosh, what are we missing? What is the magic formula? And how is it that everyone else seems to be getting it right? And really, you search everywhere for that little that elusive little tiny bottle of enchanted fairy dust that everyone else seems to be using, right? Somehow people have found this little magic bottle of this fairy dust that poof, makes their business super successful and all their marketing efforts work. Now, here's the real truth. Every single business has failed at marketing. They have done something that did not work, every single one of them. Huge, huge multinational companies all the way down to one-person businesses like yours and mine. And you don't hear about it because they don't talk about it. So, we're going to talk about it today, but oftentimes, we're embarrassed. We feel like a fraud and a failure. And that's not what we want to show the world. I want to teach you things that work, right? And we want to kind of just move past the failures and just go on to the next thing. And then when we get something that works, we want to really share that with you and want to share it with the world and we want to repeat that. And then when we find something that works, we're just head down doing it. We just want to keep in the groove and just use that marketing to do exactly what we need it to do, which is draw in the right fit clients. And really, while that's working, we're on a quest to find the next little vial of that perfect fairy dust marketing because we have another campaign to plan at some point. So today, I'm going to share some of my complete flops. The flops where I wanted to crawl in bed, cover myself in 10 blankets, put a 12-hour audiobook in my ears, and just stay there for a week. That's what I wanted to do, but inevitably I just stomp around and cry and complain for a little bit and I dust myself off and I get back to my quest to find that magic fairy dust factory. I'm going to tell you some of my marketing failures, but I have a client in 3 hours and I have to get ready for them. So let's get ready as I tell you 3 of my big marketing failures over the years from my pet photography business. And when I say failures, I just want to qualify. Failures to me mean they didn't bring in anything. No one showed up, or maybe one out of so many I wanted to. The return on investment wasn't there. I didn't make any money at all, and I lost money. No one signed up, those kind of things. So complete failure to me is that kind of situation. All right, so the first one I want to tell you about was several years ago now, probably 7 years ago. It was called Bubble Pups. Ooh. So the idea was to photograph dogs chasing bubbles. There's dog safe bubbles, like bacon flavored, things like that. And I had seen pictures of dogs chasing after bubbles. It looked so fun. And I thought surely this would be awesome. Now, the idea was not only would I get cute pictures of them chasing bubbles, but I would also get, do a collab with the local doggy daycare. So the doggy daycare was closed, I think, on Sundays, and they said, okay, that I could use their play yard. I thought, this is great. Dogs could run around safely outside. They had a nice ground. I think it was fake grass, and all enclosed. It'd be great. Just run around. They'll chase bubbles. It was a summer day. This sounds awesome, right? And it's a collab. So, you know, I could talk about it and the doggy daycare could talk about it. What side do I want? So I had this collaboration. I had a limited edition kind of mini session concept, something fun, something playful. This would be great. And I think I tied in, I usually do tie in a fundraising aspect. Where's my clamps? And I also tied it into kind of a art show. So the local greenhouse, once a month at that point, was featuring local artists. So what you do, different types of artists would sign up for a month, and you'd have one like Friday or Saturday that you display all your pictures within these plants in the greenhouse. And it was kind of an open house for the greenhouse. People can come in, enjoy your prints, and buy stuff from the greenhouse. Is that level? This side needs to come down. Okay. Okay, so great. I did sign-ups on Facebook and probably my, just everywhere, my newsletter. Sign up for Bubble Pups. It would be great. And launched the whole thing. And what we did is the day of, I ended up having, oh gosh, a couple of family members and a couple of friends help me out with this. The doggy daycare was probably there to let people in, and people would come through the facility, get their little packet of stuff, go outside with their dog, play in the bubbles. I would get pictures, and then they would go. And after that, they would have a chance to purchase some of these. And then it would go to a vote of who was going to be printed for the big display, because I wasn't going to print everybody's, right? So who would go up at this display? So what I had was like all of my regular studio samples at the greenhouse, but then they would have their print. Who would be the grand prize winner of the print up at this kind of art show? All right, so the day of came, and I had a pretty good show. I probably had 10 dogs sign up, and then the problem started. So we ended up having to buy 2 different bubble machines so that they could have just a lot of bubbles, because as soon as the bubbles came out, they would fly away. So I wanted like a lot of bubbles in here. And then, so we had trouble keeping the dogs where the bubbles were, and trouble with the bubbles and the bubble machines because they're really cheap. And then dogs didn't like them. The dogs were just like, I don't know what this is. The bubble machine scares me. I don't want to chase a bubble. This is dumb. But we got through it. We managed with like 2 people running bubble machines and me like running around this space. And so it was a nice, bright, sunny day. But once I really started taking pictures, I realized the cyclone fence would be in the background of all of these, or this other building. And I just couldn't get my aperture low enough and keep active dogs in the right spot in this whole thing. So, pictures, we kind of muddled through. So then it got to the contest part. We had a lot of people, voting on the contest, like who should be the winner. That was really fun. It's so easy for just people to go vote, vote, vote on like an online contest. Yeah. Then came the open house at the nursery, the garden center. Let's see, I think I want to put this sideways. When it came down to the open house, we had everything set up. I put all of my pictures up around. We had chosen the winner, picked a print, had a table of stuff there. Not only that, we had put together all kinds of other little things. So my oldest was living with me just for that summer. And so we put together all kinds of like little fans because it was summer with the dogs printed on it, little buttons they can wear with their dog's picture, all these little things that they could just purchase for $5, hoping that people would show up for this. So in the end, one person came from the photo session, one, and some of my friends, and just random people at the greenhouse. I had all these things left over that eventually I just threw away or repurposed. It was a complete flop. Nobody showed up to the final thing. Yeah, it wasn't, to me, I would think that's a failure. So that was Bubble Pups. What happened with that? It was too complicated. It really was just so incredibly complicated. There's too many moving parts. There was too many collabs. It sounded great. I love collaborating, and it was too different of a type of session. I wanted it to be something kind of fun and everything, but it was so different from other types of sessions I did that it was just really kind of a fun activity for people to do. I don't know. It just didn't work out. And I don't think, and I know I didn't like vet the people ahead of time. Like, does your dog actually like bubbles? Will it actually chase these bubbles? That's why like everyone says, oh, Monique, you should do treat shot photos. You know how many treat shots I've tried to do with dogs and they just bounce off their head, including my own dog. Very few dogs actually catch those treats. You've got to get the right dog. Oh my gosh. So in the end, that cost me, like, all these family members and friends came to the session, came to the party. I printed stuff. You know, I did all these things, made almost no money. I think I lost money on that. And I made it really too complex and really something my regular clients were like, meh. Didn't really care for. So those are kind of my takeaways from that giant failure. Whew. All right, we got to put some lights up and then we'll move on to the next failure. What a day. All right, so the next one is a much more recent example, also including kind of a limited edition type session. This one was my pumpkin patch pups, and I thought it would be really cute. There is a local pumpkin patch that is super small. It has this beautiful barn and porch and a lake. It was so, so pretty. And I thought, geez, this would be great to team up with a very, very local pumpkin patch and just do some really nice, like, sunrise, sunset, pumpkin patch, fall pictures, a little bit different, a little like dip your toe, right? That's what we want with these mini sessions, is kind of like, let's just see how it works and give people a little taste of what it's like to work with us. So I went out to the farm and I talked to them. I said, this is what I want to do. Can I reserve a time, like pay you to reserve a time? And of course she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking, because a lot of photographers just come out and use our space. Don't do that. Let me get my other light here. So we went about it. We got it all legit. We picked some dates and some times, and I was going to have exclusive use of their area, not during their regular busy times. And I went out there with my dog and I took some, marketing images, and it was really nice. Really, really nice place. Really great. So I made all this marketing stuff, landing page, everything. It was a good price. It came with like a little pumpkin from their farm that I would also pay for. I don't want to knock over my coffee. But once again, I got complete crickets, just total crickets. I was so shocked. Now, normally I say don't run mini session type things during fall, during your really busy time. But this, I think, was right before the peak of fall colors. And honestly, I didn't have a lot lined up yet. So I thought, well, shoot, I can do these weekday sessions. This will be fine. This will be great. It'll be really fun. But it was a flop. Not one person signed up. Yeah, not one. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Now, I got some really cute pictures of my pups out of it. But, I paid for the space, and I finally just messaged her. I said, listen, I'm closing it down the last like 2 days. go ahead and open it up to other people. I'm okay, I made this agreement, I've taken up these dates, you don't need to refund me, right? I didn't expect a refund, although she did send my check back. Like, she'd never even cashed it, which I thought was really nice. And I had a really great conversation with her. She was thinking about planting a wild sunflower field on one part of her property. So, I have a nice contact now for another location to possibly photograph other clients. But it was a complete bust. And, I get why it didn't work. It was weekday mornings. Again, I think it was too childlike. Although there was areas of the place that didn't look like you were taking your toddler to a pumpkin patch farm. Maybe that's how people thought of it. I think the price point was okay, but it was on weekday mornings. And so that was the biggest complaint I heard, was that it was on weekday mornings. And I am at this point where I just really don't want to work on the weekends. That one was pretty devastating. I really needed that income. And I really wanted to give up on mini sessions altogether. And I kind of have in a lot of ways. Now, that's also when the economy started to make a big dive right before the holidays. And so it was kind of a rough year overall. I don't know if it was just this marketing effort and this type of product, but it was a bummer. I'm just gonna say it was a bummer, okay? So that's my second one. Hope you're enjoying this. What else do we have to set up? I think I need to get my camera out, right? And do some testing here. Okay, so let's do that next while I tell you about my last failure, okay? All right, so the last one I want to talk about is more of a print sale, art exhibit type of thing, standalone. And what I used to do was this event called Spring Me. It was based on Spring Me from the shelter. So every spring we would go to that greenhouse and photograph adoptable dogs with fresh flower crowns and collars. And I started getting people saying, hey, I would love that too. So I ended up making that into a mini session. But one of the things I wanted to do was I had reached out to this local restaurant who had a space in their restaurant to hang up local art, kind of this cool alcove that people could sit in. And so I talked to them about hanging a display and having a little artist reception, kind of drinks and apps type of thing. And of course they're like, oh, sure. So we scheduled a time. And what I did was I took some of the the Spring Me pictures of the adoptable animals that I'd done that year, and I printed them and framed them in these nice black square format prints. And I also got each dog's story, like their backstory, because they were kind of famous at that point. There we go. They were famous at that point just because maybe they had special needs or whatever the deal was with that particular dog. So I had their print and I had their story, and these prints were for sale. So you could buy them. I really didn't think much people would buy them, but I wanted to have another touch point that people would know me from. Okay, I gotta reduce these lights. So that's what I did. I got the stories from everybody, and I printed them and framed them and hung them up really pretty at this restaurant and set a date and let everybody know, hey, come on down to the restaurant, talk to me about these dogs. Some of them were still adoptable, I believe, and take a look at the prints and just learn some more. Good job, Wiggles. You haven't moved at all. Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I did all that and nobody came. Yep, me and my family came. There was like 4 of us. We had a really nice dinner, but not one person came. Not the fosters that had housed these dogs. Nobody. And so I ended up keeping those pictures for a super long time. One of them, I gave the print to the foster. They'd done so much great work. And the others, I've just repurposed the frames or given them to the shelters and stuff. So that was a bummer. And I was pretty disheartened. I've had a lot of events over the years where nobody ever showed up. So I was pretty bummed. to have absolutely no one show up and just at least share my apps. Yeah, so that was a huge fail in my eyes too. Hey, Wiggles, good job. Well, this video has become a real downer for me, but I thought it was really important to let you know there really is no magic fairy dust in a bottle factory somewhere. There just isn't. It's trial and error. You have to try things. You have to treat it like an experiment, detach yourself a little bit from the results, and then go back and look at why it didn't work. Did it not mesh with what your clients expected? Was it way too different? Was it way too different from the style that you normally do? Was it the wrong time of year, the wrong location? Did it not compel them for some reason? They didn't have a good enough reason why they should participate. There's so many things that you can learn from all of your failed marketing attempts and projects. And so I don't want you to go away with feeling sad for me at all. First of all, I've gotten over it. Yes, I did my crying and stomping and things like that, but I also did all of the reflection on myself and on those projects and wrote it down, and I just keep moving forward and keep trying. And every time I do a marketing thing, I try to say, okay, what is my budget? What's realistically my budget? What's an actual good time for my clients? What would my right fit clients actually love to participate in? So those are some of the questions that I now ask myself after having been through a few failures. I kind of know, okay, this does not resonate with people that follow me. Although what I was trying to do was reach people outside of my normal following. It didn't work. But at least it got my name in front of people. So now I can tell these stories. I can say, oh yeah, I remember I did that Bubble Pups thing at the daycare. Oh yeah, I've had my art up on display. Things like that. I've gotten the experience. And some of those things just help me figure out how to set up the back end. So Bubble Pups was one of the first kind of production things that I did where people had to sign up online and pay and do the whole back end workflow. So I learned from that. There's always something to learn in your failures. Probably not in the moment though. It's okay to just scream and cry and kick and throw a fit. It's fine. You can do that. You don't need permission from me at all, but that's what we all do. Okay? We all have marketing failures. Have you ever seen a TV commercial that you never see again? It didn't work out. So I really want this to be more of an encouraging video to you, that everyone you see online and in person has had failures, and it's okay for you to have them too. You just have to keep falling and getting back up. If you want to go on that quest for the Magic Fairy Dust Factory, go for it. Once you find it, you will keep it and you'll be like, yes, I got it. This fits for me and for my clients. And if you really want some help with some specific things that would help connect you to your right fit clients, to learn the back end of setting up your photography studio and get support from other pet photographers at all levels, I invite you to join the ProPetPhotog Community Center membership. So just go to the ProPetPhotog.com website, tap on Community Center, and there's a little video that tells you more about it. It's really a supportive group, and we go over in depth more of these concepts, and we get a chance to talk through each of these things with each other. We have a whole night that's just all a coaching time. I want to put that out there as a resource for you too, but really leave you with encouragement that you will find something that works. It's not going to be the easiest quest, but you will find something. Take a look at what you've done that worked and maybe repeat that with a tweak. So there's so much that goes into marketing, and you're not going to get it right away. You got to gather that data. You got to try things. You got to fail. You got to win to know it works. All right, that's what I have to say for you. You got anything to add, Wiggles? Nope. Thanks for joining me again today here at Silver Paw Studio for ProPetPhotog. Like this if you liked it, share it if you feel like it, and as always, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs. All right, we are ready to go. 2 hours early. That's okay.